Bugatti cut off Matt Armstrong's access to Chiron parts completely. The common take? It's brand protection, maintaining prestige, standard luxury manufacturer gatekeeping tactics. Here's what's actually happening. This goes way beyond a single builder or a single vehicle. Bugatti just accidentally revealed they fear public transparency far more than they fear a totaled hypercar getting back on the streets. And the moment Matt completes this project, the entire hypercar business structure crumbles. Here's what I'm showing you. First, why Bugatti shutting down parts supply had nothing to do with maintaining standards and everything to do with corporate survival. Next, I'll demonstrate why this specific rebuild represents the biggest existential threat the factory hypercar ecosystem has ever faced. By the time we're done, you'll see exactly why this particular Chiron has more value destroyed than it could ever have intact. If you're invested in what unfolds when multi-billion-dollar corporations attempt to silence independent mechanics, you'll want to stick around for this. Alright, let's dive in. Here's the reality everyone's dancing around. Bugatti doesn't lock down parts supply because these machines are delicate. They lock them down because artificial scarcity is what they're actually selling. Consider this. A Chiron carries a $3 million price tag brand new. The raw components, carbon fiber, machined metals, the labor, that doesn't justify $3 million. What you're actually purchasing is the narrative, the mythology that only 500 units will ever be produced. That exclusive ownership belongs solely to you. Now picture Matt Armstrong completing this restoration, in full view, filmed, documenting every component, every alternative supplier, every creative solution. All of a sudden the veil drops. People start understanding, hold on, this is achievable without factory involvement. Once that realization hits, the exclusivity evaporates. And that exclusivity represents the sole foundation of their value retention. Bugatti didn't block Matt to safeguard their technical excellence. They blocked him to preserve the mythology, which leads us here. This represents Bugatti's absolute nightmare scenario. Matt's Chiron restoration isn't merely YouTube content, it's a complete roadmap. Each time he locates a component, each time he identifies an independent supplier, each time he demonstrates something can be reverse engineered or custom fabricated, he's proving to other mechanics, technical specialists, and performance shops that factory dependence is optional. Currently, hypercar ownership functions as a sealed ecosystem. You purchase the vehicle, factory servicing exclusively, resale within the same controlled network. Manufacturers dictate every transaction. If Matt completes this restoration without Bugatti's participation, that ecosystem breaks. He demonstrates factory authorization isn't necessary for ownership, maintenance, or complete rebuilds. Once that's validated, everything shifts. Independent facilities can resurrect total losses. Performance specialists can modify without brand retaliation. Enthusiasts can completely circumvent manufacturer control. Bugatti recognizes this reality. That's the reason for their immediate response. Because this transcends one vehicle, this threatens their monopoly over the entire secondary market. When that monopoly dissolves, the industry transforms permanently, leading directly into this. Let's establish clarity. Bugatti didn't block Matt Armstrong over liability concerns. They blocked him because he represents a systemic threat. Consider what Matt actually embodies. He's not ultra-wealthy elite. He's not following their established protocols. He purchased a destroyed Chiron, something Bugatti would prefer completely destroyed, and chose to resurrect it publicly on the internet for millions to witness. That's their absolute worst-case scenario. Every time Matt releases new footage, he's demonstrating to the world that Bugatti's supposedly irreplaceable expertise isn't actually irreplaceable. That their celebrated engineering can be understood. That the entire mystique is sophisticated marketing. Here's the critical part. Matt's viewership isn't fellow billionaires, it's everybody. Technicians, engineering students, fabricators. Individuals who would never gain entry to Bugatti's exclusive circle are now watching someone methodically deconstruct it component by component. Bugatti cannot manage that narrative, so they attempted to eliminate it immediately. Except it's already too far gone. The discussion has already begun, and their situation deteriorates further. Here's the angle nobody anticipated. This destroyed Chiron now carries greater value as an active rebuild than it would ever possess as a completed vehicle. The reason? What it symbolizes. A factory-restored Chiron. That's simply another Chiron. Uncommon, certainly. Costly, absolutely. but fundamentally unremarkable. A Chiron reconstructed independently against direct Bugatti opposition, completely documented from start to completion, every obstacle made public. That becomes automotive legacy. That vehicle transforms into an icon. The one that validated the system could be defeated. The one that proved factory authorization isn't required to possess genuine hypercar excellence. Collectors will invest more in that story than they would ever spend on factory perfection. Bugatti understands this completely. That's driving their desperation to prevent it. Because once this vehicle reaches completion, it doesn't simply damage their reputation, it establishes an entirely new hypercar category, one existing outside their jurisdiction. Which brings us to what Bugatti desperately wants buried. Matt never intended to dismantle the hypercar establishment. His goal was simply rebuilding a Chiron. In pursuing that goal, he unintentionally uncovered what Bugatti and every comparable hypercar manufacturer has concealed for generations. They're not marketing engineering excellence, they're marketing conditional access, access to ownership, access to repairs, access to participation. The instant you violate their terms, that access disappears. Consider the implications. Bugatti can unilaterally determine your vehicle doesn't qualify for parts support. Ferrari will blacklist owners for unauthorized paint choices. Pagani can deny service for any modifications whatsoever. Bugatti's actual function is selective assembly and distribution control. They manage the story, they manage accessibility, they manage participant selection. That's not craftsmanship, that's strategic curation. Matt's rebuild is validating that removing the curation layer reveals the vehicle itself isn't untouchable. It's reconstructible, maintainable, repairable. Bugatti's complete value strategy depends on the premise that exclusive factory capability exists. If Matt completes this vehicle, that premise collapses. So here's our current position. Bugatti banned Matt Armstrong. Through that decision, they've revealed they're not concerned about him personally, they're concerned about what he represents going forward. This rebuild transcends one Chiron. This questions whether the hypercar industry can withstand complete transparency, whether gatekeeping survives once those gates stand permanently open, whether future generations of builders will request permission or simply acquire the knowledge and solve problems independently. Matt didn't simply acquire a wrecked Bugatti. He initiated a conflict the manufacturers never realized they were about to face. And we're all witnessing it. Every fastener he removes, every alternative source he discovers, every progress update he shares. This isn't just entertainment at this point. This is historical documentation. This validates the system faces legitimate challenge, that barriers can collapse, that participation in the hypercar sphere doesn't require nine-figure wealth. You simply need technical capability, unwavering commitment, and the courage to disregard the gatekeepers. When Matt gets that Chiron operational, when he validates this is achievable without Bugatti's authorization, then every destroyed hypercar represents potential. Every insurance write-off becomes a viable restoration. Every manufacturer ban loses all significance. The real question isn't whether Matt completes the vehicle. The question is whether Bugatti survives the aftermath of his success. The instant that power plant ignites, the moment that vehicle moves independently, everything transforms. The mythology disintegrates, the control structure vanishes. Suddenly, hypercar ownership isn't about manufacturer selection. It's about personal choice. That's the reality Matt's constructing. Not simply a Chiron, but an environment where manufacturers no longer dictate final outcomes.